what I'm going to do now is just go through some of the remaining packages that might be interesting to install. And I've got a list here somewhere, so I'm just going to go through the list and pick each one. A lot of them are command line utilities, which might be useful. Let's get rid of those. Just little tools. So the first one I'm going to do is HD Palm, which can be useful for configuring hard disks, ATA hard disks in particular. Yeah, heed the warning here, it can be dangerous if you use the incorrect parameters with it. So let's fetch this one, HD Palm. So there's no dependencies, let's compile it. And install it. So in actual fact, the Raspberry Pi hasn't got any SDA type devices. The Raspberry Pi 500 Plus, it's got a SD card slot, which is an MMC block type of device, i.e. a flash device, and an NVMe. So this is only going to be useful if you've got a USB ATA hard drive plugged in, and even then HD Palm can have problems with some of the USB controllers getting past them to actually gain access to the hard disk. So it's maybe not quite as useful as it would be on an ordinary desktop. HD Palm. So if I run this, it comes up with oh, is it a root only? Yeah, install. That makes sense. Yeah, it's not going to be much use if I try and do information on NVMe. I doubt very much if it will work. N1. Yeah, it's not going to work. So maybe not that useful, but like I say, if you're going to install or plug in a ATA device somehow, then it probably would be a bit of use. So that's HD Palm. Right, next one is Sysmon 3. Now this, I think, is a Qt type package, so it'll be a graphical package. Sysmon 3. Required at runtime. Oh, we need Sysmon D, right, okay. Let's install that one first. And I'm not sure, we should have this, I'd imagine, because you can gain access to things like temperature on the Raspberry Pi 500 Plus. So let's do a zcat and look for that value, HWMon. Okay, have I rebooted then, or has that been ejected from memory maybe? So configs, let's try that again. Yes, it has been set, so that's good. So let's fetch this. Extract it. And we can build it. Right, this may have been limited use as well because, well, Sensors Detect didn't come up with anything when I installed LM Sensors. However, it does come up with some basic information. As you can see there, it's got the temperature it's picked out. of the CPU, which is currently 37. It looks like there's some other, an IDC RP1 ADC adapter. So I'm not sure what that is, but that's running at 45 degrees. And also you can see the NVMe, which is obviously on the PCI bus. It's got the current temperature of that as well. So this will be quite useful to monitor when we're compiling, actually. Come to think of it, let's try that here and do watch -D. So that highlights the changes, and then do sensors. So this will update every 2 seconds, and you can see there it's highlighting the change from the previous update. So you can see that's hovering around 37 degrees or so, so body temperature, and the PCI adapter, it's not really being used, so that's pretty constant. So let's start, but I imagine this wouldn't take long, so it probably wouldn't be worth monitoring the temperature while this is compiling. Yeah, it's only compiled about 8 programs. Make install, and that's installed, and then we've got a daemon, a unit to start or to install. So let's do sudo su, change into the BLFS system D units and install that. Let's do system control status sysmond, so it's enabled but inactive. Let's enable it and do the status again. You can see that started fine. So default configuration file etc sysmond. So defaults are currently used, but there are some configuration items that are commented out. So let's put that in and then go back to sysmon 3. And then fetch this. So install it with these 2 commands. So that's compiling. Let's have a quick look at watch, and you can see the temperature of the CPU is rising. It's got up to 41, and it's still compiling. So it's still running quite cool, even though it's compiling on all cores. Well, I say all cores, I imagine it is. It certainly looked like it is, yeah, the way it started, yeah, it is. So that's pretty cool. So there's a bit of room for overclocking there, if that's your thing. So that looks like that's finished now. And let's install it. And there's a configuration file there. They're created each time for each system being monitored. When first run the program after the system has been monitored, after testing communication, the server is satisfactory. The server name is saved in the main window of start. Let's see if we can find it in here. Looks like it's highlighted the addition. Yep. Oh no, that's the Java. Okay. Let's just bring that up. Not sure how. Right. Okay. Okay, well that looks okay. That's something maybe we can monitor if we're running a Java app. Let's look for this system monitor. Don't know if it's this, is it? Don't think so. I think that's part of. Right, I've noticed this before. It can't. This system monitor that comes with KDE or Plasma can't actually get any information from the Raspberry Pi, so that will probably have to be configured, maybe even at source level to do that. Let's try this one here then. That's just called System Monitor, and it is version 4.9.1 like the rest of the GNOME packages. Let's just run sysmon here then. Okay, so it is its own standalone program. So let's click start. Oh, it's failed again, so maybe that can't communicate with some part of the Raspberry Pi hardware. That's a possibility. So it causes segmentation fault, but there's nothing in the kernel log. Okay, so that might be a bit useless on this platform as well then, unfortunately. But let's stick this into this spreadsheet anyway, as it's something we've done. USB utils next, which is the next one, funny enough. And looks like we've got the dependencies in for this. Now, I would expect this to work, as USB is quite key to the Raspberry Pi's hardware profile. Certainly, it's probably quite significant for the smaller models. XVF, as it may be the only way to seriously expand the storage capabilities, or even other things such as mice or keyboards. So it's quite critical, really. So sudo -c make install or ninja install, and so it says LSUSB. Yeah, there we go. There's all the ports and what's connected to them, and it recommends that the Python script is actually probably more useful with these switches. So let's try that. Well, it comes up in color. It's not very well laid out because the lines are so long. Let's just temporarily expand this. That looks better. So yeah, that may be a bit easier to read if you've got the screen width to do that. So that's USB utils. Open JDK we've done. Let's tidy this up. Right, didn't tidy up sysmon. Okay, the next one I've got is NFS utils. So this could be useful if you want to access network file sharing system on a remote PC. So we've got all the dependencies again. Oh, right, okay, that didn't pick that up. That's why the center click didn't work. Oh right, okay, runtime is RPC bind. So let's deal with that first of all. Okay, so first of all we need to create a group and a user, and make a fix, and then compile it. So that's complete. Let's make install and silence the warning created by the systemd unit. Okay, we might have to become the root properly to do that. Yep. Enable it with that. And let's do status, and we can start it as well. Status. So that's running. So I won't go into the configuration of, oh no, sorry, this is RPC bind, isn't it? Beg your pardon, not NFS utils. So let's tidy that up. RPC bind. So let's just check to see we've got the settings in the kernel. Again, I would expect these to exist. So NFS, FS, we've got, and I presume the other one is for the daemon, which you'd only run if you wanted to share part of the file system. So that's set as well to a module. It says here that they assume NFS version 3 will be used. If the server offers 4, then auto negotiation for 3 will fail. You need to have NFS ver equals 3. I can vouch for that because that's caused me headaches in the past. If neither end of the connection supports version 4, adding NFS version 3 is still beneficial because it prevents the error message NFS bad mount option value specify minor version equal 1 being logged on every mount. Note that for the purposes of BLFS, we're only covering NFS 3 because it is easy to configure. You may depend on some of the more advanced configuration security features of 4, or if you depend, you may wish to review this post. So let's copy and paste this. Yeah, they are actually disabling NSV4. I'll leave the GSS API disabled. And it says about an environment where variable libs SQLite 3 event core. So that's not actually in the instructions as far as I can see. So I assume that's a leftover from previous version of NFS utils. Okay, that's installed. So let's, sorry, that's compiled. Let's now install it. And test for this package require package to be installed. In addition, the RPC stat D daemon must not be running, and tests need to be run as root user. RPC stat D. Does that mean the RPC bind? Right, I can't actually see anything there called RPC stat D, so I'll have a go at running the tests, and they seem to pass okay. So yeah, what I was going to say after RPC500, I'll say it now. I'm not going to go through the configuration because, well, I haven't got anything to demonstrate, but it's fairly simple. Just follow these instructions. Yeah, basically to use a client, you just put this into etc FS tab so it mounts them at boot time. And you need this for the client services. There's probably one for the server as well. Yes, there is there. So I'll just start the client service. In fact, I don't see any reason why to start both unless they complain about configuration not existing. So let's go to the BLFS and install the non-NFS v4 server, and likewise for the client. Let's see if there's any complaints when we start both of them. So let's start the server first of all. System CTL status, so it's enabled. Start it. Yes, it has cancelled it. Okay, so what I'll do is, probably because there's no configuration, yeah, I can't open etc exports. Well, let's have a go at touching that file. That's the file that you specify what you want to export and make available for other people to hook into. Right, that's worked this time. Yeah, so it's happy now. Let's do the same with the client. So it's loaded, inactive and dead. Let's start it. And that started fine as well. So that's NFS utils. Oh, and we installed RPC bind. Was it RPC bind? Yeah, runtime. Right, I've put both of them into the spreadsheet, and let's close that down. And the next one I've got is Wireshark, which is a network monitoring utility. So let's tidy this up. And fetch this. And alright, there's a link here. So whether the instructions include information oh, I see, just copy them into the Wireshark. So let's see what's available. Developer's guide, user's guide. So that looks like, yeah, it's in different formats, isn't it? Don't know what the WSAR is. Oh, it could be the whole lot because it's 34 megabytes. So that might be the one. Let's have a look at the FAQ. Oh, right, okay. I think let's copy that and download that. I think that might be everything that's there. So I'm going to extract Wireshark, change into it. I'll change into the docks and unzip wire. Oh right, what's it called? WSAR HTML. Might be worth renaming that actually. Yeah, let's rename that. So I'll call it Wireshark -4.6.3 docs and was WSAR HTML. So you can see that I've renamed it and kept the original file name. Is that right? WSAR HTML. Right, let's see what's in it. It looks like it is purely HTML. Okay, so might want possibly these other formats. Let's get all of these. BLFS. We've done that one, so let's save that one. Okay, so we've got them in various formats which might be useful. So I'll tidy that up. And we can start with the compilation. So first thing to do is to check that the kernel's built with the appropriate options to make this useful. Let's just look for packet, and packet is set, so that's good. So first of all, we've got to add a Wireshark group. Let's see if that works. Yep, it has. And then, is there any other options? No. We can just copy and paste this and wait for it to install. Well, that's completed and we can install that now. Okay, that's done. If installed into the documentation files and page listing additional downloads, installation, the following commands as the root user. So just for time's sake, I'll copy the, well, let's do it like this. I'll copy the PDF and EPUB files two directories up. Oh, it's capital W. Into that directory, and now set the ownership and permissions of sensitive applications to only allow authorized users as a root user. Do that. Add any user to the Wireshark group, so I'll add Kernotex. And what I'll have to do now is to come out of this. I'll tidy that up. And I'll have to re-log in to enable that. Okay, so let's get rid of that window. So if I do groups, I might have to do a reboot then. In that case, so let's do a restart. Okay, looks like there might be a problem. Oh no, it's just waiting for the network. Okay. Okay, so I'll log in now, and hopefully if I type groups, yeah, that's better. We've got Wireshark as one of the groups, so I should be able to start that now. Yeah, it's highlighted the fact that that's been added. And I think that was the... Okay, so it looks like there's some more configuration to do that, but you can see it's working. About Wireshark, there's all the information about how it was built. Not sure why that's not working. It should work. Let's try and run it from the command line. So we're definitely in the Wireshark group. So maybe there's something else that needs to be done, and that's probably why there's all that documentation to help out with that. Okay, so that's Wireshark. We've already extracted that. So the next thing I'm going to install, I've put that in the spreadsheet, is Balsa, which is a lightweight mail client. And this needs Gmime. And configure. And test it. So it says that two tests are known to fail, and they're the two that are mentioned, so that's okay. So let's install that. And shut that down. I'll add that to the book, to the spreadsheet. Gmime. Okay, that's done. Next one we need is comp face. Figure this config script so it's C99 compatible. Fix an error with GCC that occurs with GCC 14. And configure the build and compile it. Then install it. Oh. Let's try that again. That's better. So that's comp face. Add that in. And shut that down. And the next one we've got is GTK source view. What does this need? Nothing else. Okay, so I've got a sed. And there's an option for API documentation. We're not doing that, so we'll just copy and paste the configure and compile commands. Okay, run some tests. That all look good, so let's install and that's GTK Source View 3. So let's shut that one down and GTK Source View 3. So there's actually 3 versions of that program, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, the next one is procmail. So copy link. There's a patch as well. So looks like there isn't any other things to do apart from copy and paste these commands, which have got to be done as the root user. It's asking me what is your so I think we did install an MTA. Yeah, Dovecot, that was it. So let's type Dovecot. Seems to have accepted that. And that looks like that's finished. So let's tidy that up and put that in the book. So it's procmail. And now we can install Balsa. Okay. So we can put this in, and we can also add in, if you want the, right, so remove this. We have got WebKit GTK, so we can remove that. Canberra is true, we've got that installed as well. Confface, we've installed that. GCR we've got. We've got Kerberos installed, but I'm not sure how configured it is, so I'm not going to put that in. I guess we could do, it's not the program I'm going to be using, I'm just building it for demonstration purposes. So I guess we could put both of these in. Okay, that's configured, so let's run Ninja. Okay, that's done, and install that. And that's done. So I'll tidy that up. Let's see if we can find that in the menu. Yep, there it is. Okay, so obviously it needs to be configured again, so I can't really go any further than that, but it shows it's running. So that's Balsa. The next one I want to install is Fe. I presume it's or Fe, which is actually that one there, which is a lightweight image viewer. So it looks like the only thing we need to install is test command for running the test, which is a Perl module. So that's built and tested and installed. So I'll put that in as a Perl module, test command. And we can now download this. Kernotex, use this flag. If you don't have the curl package installed, we have. And this make flag enables built-in EXIF tag display support. So that sounds like we've got to append it to make like that. Okay, and make test. That's passed. So sudo -e, make install, and tidy that up. Add this to the spreadsheet, and let's quickly have a look at it running. So it hasn't appeared in here, so it's obviously that lightweight. No load images specified. I see. So it needs to be told where to look for the images. Let's do find. Let's look for some PNG files. So there's some in that directory there, by the looks of it. So if we type Fay or Fair, yeah, there it is. There it's a tiny thing. So press space each time. So yeah, it is quite lightweight. Okay, so that's that one. Next, I'm going to install MPV, which is a sort of general purpose media player for the command line. MPV. So we need to install uchardet. No, we haven't got that one. So it looks like just copy and paste what's there. And test it. That's all okay. Install, and that's done. So uchardet. And now we can install MPV. Right, so let's copy the, create the build directory, the temporary build directory, copy the Meson setup, and just take a look to see what other options there are. So we can enable DVD playback, even though we haven't got a DVD device installed. You can certainly attach a USB one. Same for the CD audio. And let's enable SDL2 as well without the semicolon. Okay, didn't like that. So this looks like it's another package where the installation details haven't been updated. So let's have a look at the Meson options, I think it is. So let's look for SDL2 gamepad. So it doesn't look like that option's there anymore. Oh, SDL2 audio. So you have to specify it individually. So that's what the different is now. So SDL2 audio is enabled, and once the SDL2 video equals enabled. Okay, that looks good. So run Ninja to build that. Right, now if I remember the video players that we tried before didn't work, and I wasn't sure if that was environment or not, so it'd be interesting to see if this works. So let's install it. Sudo -e install. Okay, that's done. So that's MPV installed. Add that to the spreadsheet. Okay, so if we type MPV, that bit works. Obviously, there's no errors there. Let's try and find some MKV file. What MP4 was it? Oh, it looks like there's some test files here. Let's try that one. Star.mp4. Sorry, put that in. Right, not sure. Let's put star.mpv, mkv, sorry. Right, yes, there we are. So those other ones weren't long enough. So this is v3.mk3. That's clearly working. Make this full screen. Although the quality of the video is pretty ropey, you can see that's definitely working. So MK3, which one was it? So it's just that one there, .mkv. Yeah, okay, so I need to try that file on the other players. So what were they? Multimedia. Oh yeah, it's found MPV. Right, parole. Media, open. Oh, example movie. Let's try that again. Right. So what was the location of that file? Let's try that one. See if it comes up with the same message with MPV. So MPV /opt/text live 225 text mf dist text latex example movie. Right, that's not coming up. Oh, example/example. No. Right, what's different there? Opt text live 2025 text mf text latex. That's strange, I can't see that. Right, let's look for MP4 then. Oh, that's a different place that now. Or it's not displaying the full location there, maybe. So let's see what this one says. Well, that's clearly working, so it must be something about this, the way it's rendering it, or it can't access the coders, or they haven't been built in. Maybe there's another option that needs to be specified into Parole to get that movie to work. But it's clearly working with MPV. This is one of the reasons why I like MPV. Well, in fact, MPlay is my preferred one, but nothing seems to phase it. So yeah, that's okay. There was another one, wasn't there? Oh, it was this one, video player. I think this was the known one. So let's try pasting that into there. Yeah, see, that doesn't like it either. Interesting. Let's try the original one we used, which was that one there. Incredible. So I can only assume that both of these video players haven't had everything compiled in. So maybe the instructions in BLFS are a bit conservative and there are more options to get these to work. So that's probably the reasons why they wouldn't work originally. But as you can see, it certainly does work with MPV. Okay, so that's that one. The next one I'm going to do is Audacious, which is a nice little audio player. There's no other options in BLFS to compile. I've put MPV in the spreadsheet, so that's all sorted. Four. So let's build a temporary directory. Putting the configure in, the setup. Let's see what other options we've got. Constant GTK equals true, Qt true, lib archive is true. And we can put Valgrind in for testing. Or for analysis, it says, so I'm quite what it analyzes, I don't know. Let's build it. Okay, that's built, so I'm going to install that. That's done, and there's some plugins to put in here as well, so let's do this. I'm not sure if this needs the Valgrind true or not, but let's put it in anyway. So it doesn't. So I have to get rid of all of this and just run run from the Meson setup. In fact, we could actually remove all of that, and I've just noticed some of the options here. We've got Opus installed, so we can actually add that in. WAV-Pack we haven't got. Oh, okay. Oh, it's Opus file this is called. Alright, okay. So it's not the same thing as Opus then. So that's done. Now let's do Ninja to build that. Okay, that's done, so it's time to install it. And that's the plugins installed. So we should have this here. Yep, there it is. Oh no, it's there it is at the top. So it's a nice little player. It's got visualizations as well, which can be nice if that's the sort of thing you're interested in. I'm not sure if I've got any audio files to play to get them working. Appearance, you can make this even look like the old Winamp. Give that Winamp look. That's the VU meter. There it is. So you can get up the remember how to do it. Let's close that. playlist, and you can attach this so it moves around with that window and so on. There's a few more windows you can put into that. Let's see if we can find. Yeah, I'm not sure this will play because, like I say, there's no sound on this, but we can try it. Oh yeah, so you can see the sound working, but you can't hear it, unfortunately. But yeah, you can clearly see that working. And you can see that there's no lag with that at all. It's perfectly fine. Showing that the system's capable of actually being used. So that's that one. Audacious. Yeah, I did delete that. Yeah. So I'll put that into the spreadsheet. And the next one I'm going to do is take another look at my list. gparted. So this is a graphical front end for Parted, a partition editor. Can be useful if you've got other disks or partitions you want to reconfigure. So configure and make. There's an option, enable Xhost root, which is a workaround to get it to work under Wayland. So if you are in Wayland, that's almost certainly a necessity. And we can remove disabled dock because we've got the gnome dock utilities. Okay, it's built, so let's do some checks. Okay, that looks okay. So let's Install that. And is that it? So yeah, you can see some of the other tools. It's got runtime dependencies. There is an option in the program which shows you what it's capable of based on what has been installed. Root privileges required to run gparted. If you wish to run an application from the menu, further applications and configurations are necessary. And it gives examples there. Or a solution is to use SSH ask pass. So you should be able to run it by doing sudo like that. Yeah, but obviously the ask pass method will allow you to do it through a menu. So let's do that. Oh, it's part of OpenSSH, is it? Right, okay. So we've not already got it then. No. Oh, SSH ask. No, we haven't. Okay, I didn't know whether it may have been installed as an extra option. Something might have already built in. So let's extract open SSH. And oh, I see it's a contribution. So that's it built. SU. So that's installed, and as root user, configure sudo to use SSH ask pass. So that's done. So let's ask pass. I'll put that on the spreadsheet. Go back to gparted. So it says as the root we need to do these commands. So sudo okay. Now clicking on the menu for gparted. So it looks like it's there. Okay, it hasn't asked us, but then we've got no password set for sudo, so that's probably why it hasn't asked for the password. But anyway, you can see that it's clearly working there. Obviously, we can't do anything with this partition here. Why not? Yeah, these two are locked because they're in use. Not sure why that is. Oh yes, there's probably an extra external dependency that's not installed, which would be, yeah, this mtools one. So we can't actually do anything at the moment on this particular disk, but if we were to plug in another disk, you'd do all sorts of file operations. And if you do view file system support, this table shows you what it's capable of performing. So you can see the FAT32 can't do the labels or the UUIDs, and it's the mtools that are preventing it from doing these things here. exFAT, there's no support because exFAT progs has not been built in, so that could be quite useful if you've got flash drives that you're sharing between machines, especially Windows machines. But yeah, that can be quite a useful tool, gparted. So that's that one. The next one I've got is transmission. There it is there. Let's open that. And we've got all the dependencies. Fetch it. So this is really good for a good way for getting ISOs from various sites. It just relieves the burden on the servers. And even the Internet Archive, there's Linux ISOs on there, which can be fetched with torrent. So it's quite useful. Transmission. Yep, useful tool to have. So we've got any, yeah, we've got some extra options. So let's build the temporary directory, edit the CMake, and let's check the options. So the default's to build the Qt. It builds the GTK4 if GTK4 is installed, which looks like it is. Defaults to build the web interface if Node.js is found. And defaults not to rebuild the client. Okay, so it looks like the defaults are probably what we want. Okay, let's start the build. Right, that's built, so now we can install it. And we can create a transmission icon from the SVG file if we've got GTK-MM4 installed. So let's do that. So that looks like that's complete. So tidy that up. And let's see if we can run it. So let's run the Qt version. Change session. Not sure what that's about. Right, so what I'm going to do is I haven't decided if I'm going to do it yet, but I'm planning on, for the last couple of packages, I'm going to do demonstration of building a game called the Battle for Wesnoth, or Battle for Wesnoth, which I normally do as a demonstration of building something that's completely outside of BLFS, as well as some of its dependencies. And I had thought about doing Factorio as an example of a commercial game to install, but I realised that there's no option or no version available that will run on the Raspberry Pi architecture, so I've had to cancel that. So what I might do is I'm planning on installing or showing the installation of another game called Zero AD, and that has got some large files to download, but they actually make them available as torrents. So what I'm going to do is to download them. I need the source code. They have got direct downloads, but as you can see, one of these files, the data file, is 1.3 gigabytes, and that's quite a lot to download, especially for a game that's free, for volunteers that are working for free, much like Linux from scratch. So rather than put the burden on them, what I'm going to do is try and download it via transmission. I'll leave it running in the background. Oh, looks like that might have popped up. It's started downloading already, so let's see if that one's... Okay, looks like it sort of kind of recognises as something being copied, but then disappears. So yeah, I'll just leave that running in the background, and I imagine it will download in, what's that, probably about an hour or so, maybe. So I'll have to remember if I reboot that I'll have to restart that again. So anyway, you can see it's obviously working because it started downloading instantly. In fact, the first one's nearly complete. Looks like about half an hour then. So I'll leave that running. I think you can put this in the system tray actually. Edit preferences. Yeah, I think that will do it. Yeah, there it is there. So I can monitor it from there. See, it's nearly done, so it's only going to be 5 minutes by the looks of it. So yeah, that's transmission. So I'll shut that one down. And what I'm going to do next is to do some of the graphical browsers. So we've actually already installed SeaMonkey, I think. Oh, Seahorse it was, not SeaMonkey. Firefox is one we've done, sorry, already. So I need to get that open and just click on anything that we've installed, which is that one. Yeah, there can't be much left. So I'm going to install Epiphany, which is the browser associated with GNOME, Falcon, which is the browser associated with KDE Plasma, and SeaMonkey, which is just another lightweight browser, I presume. So let's start with Epiphany. We've got all the dependencies. Let's fetch this. It's not too big, so it shouldn't take too long to download with that torrent that's occurring in the background. So there's a note about removing files that will cause a crash for early versions. So we don't need to do that because we haven't got any early version. And it looks quite straightforward to build. Just copy and paste. Okay, that's built. Let's install it. And it says run it after it's installed, otherwise one test fails. So let's run it. Okay, we've got a couple of tests failed there anyway. Preferred dark theme with libad waitress, and oh right, I say because I've got the dark theme installed, it doesn't seem to be compatible with libad waiter by the looks of it. So that's why I've got two failures. So that's a bit unfortunate. But apart from that, it looks all right. So let's delete that and run it, test it out. Internet. Let me just run this media player from here. Get rid of that dot. So internet. Let's run the other transmission. If it works, yes, it has worked. Is that going to close it completely? No. Good. So there's Epiphany. Again, it's called Epiphany, and yet it appears as just a plain name, web. And as with all the GNOME things, it seems to be quite plain looking. I'm not sure how fully featured it is. I have used it, but not in anger. Let's use the type in here. I have used it occasionally, but not to any great extent. So you can see that it's working fine. Read online. So there's the book. And let's go to Google, as it seems to use either JavaScript or HTML5. Yeah, that seems to be working fine. Okay, this tends to happen with these little browsers. You get challenged by Google. It happens with Falcon as well. So yeah, there's pages working, and hopefully the video will load. So yeah, that's playing fine. So let's shut that down and move on to Falcon next. So that's in the spreadsheet. Falcon, it does say it can be installed as a standalone, although you would need, as you can see, Qt Web Engine, KDE frameworks, which probably entails installing Qt as well, so it'd be quite a big install, despite the fact that the web browser's lightweight but quite capable. So we're on a non-8664 architecture, but that probably means 32 bits. So if we do get problems, we can attempt to add that switch in that it mentions there. So let's wait for this to build. Right, that's done, so let's install it. And refresh the library cache and run make test. Okay, I'm not sure if I should have accepted that then. Let's abort this and start it again. No, it looks like it's not liking me cancelling that. Might have to start a new session off to let that pass. Okay, let's see if I can run it. Yeah, it's loading okay, so I may have done something wrong with that window that popped up. In fact, it has got jammed with the looks of it. I can't do anything with the window. Right, I think the best thing to do is to restart this then. Let's try once more. Yeah, it's locking up again. So I'll reboot. So let's run make test again. Right, so it's requested a new wallet. Let's try cancelling that. No, it doesn't like that either, unfortunately. Looks like I would have to create a wallet then. Yeah, it's locking up again. I hope it's this test that's doing that, and not anything else. I've never had this problem with Falcon before. So let's do another reboot. There it goes. Let's try Falcon on its own and see if it is the tests that are causing. So it still wants, so let's put this in here, finish. Right, yeah, so it's working fine now. Let's read online. And again, there's the book. And you can change the font and so on. So that's fine. Let's rerun the test then. So make test. See if it gets past that stage now. Yeah, it has done. So it's clearly something to do with that wallet that was interfering. Okay, and that's all passed as well. When upgrading, if you have installed PySide 2, you want to examine, have we got PySide 2? No, we haven't. Okay, so that's Falcon. And that's in the book. So the next one I'm going to do, skip over Firefox, is SeaMonkey. It says it's one of those frequent updates. To check that link for the advisories, let's copy. And there's 2 patches here. Python 3.1.1, I'm sure we've installed that. Oh, I see an older version. And do not install this package if you're not installing SeaMonkey. So I presume it puts it somewhere else. Yes, it does in opt. Okay, so let's fetch this now. So Python 3.1.1. Shouldn't expect to see any other options here. No. So build this. Okay, that's installed. Now I did notice the compilation was overriding an 03 that was set there. For example, here 03 is set, but then it's overridden by the 02. But being this is purely for SeaMonkey, I'm not particularly bothered. If it's any other case, I would change that to ensure the 03 was set. So let's install this. And that's finished. So there's no other configuration for that. Let's tidy that up. And start with SeaMonkey now. So let's extract it. Okay, CD SeaMonkey. And we've got a Moz config here. We've already got a Moz config. Is it Firefox? Right, I have actually renamed it. Okay, so I'll do the same with this then. So put that in. I'll edit it and just quickly check it. If you have installed dbus glib, comment out this line. So we have got that. If you've installed dbus glib and you've installed or will install wireless tools and you wish to use geolocation, I'll leave that. What have we got here? Don't want a proxy. Hunspell. I'm not sure if we've got that or not. No, it's external. Uncomment if you've not installed. Okay, so we'll leave that as it is. We've got all these dependencies. Disable debug systems, disable elf hack. Okay, so it looks like we don't need to change anything else. So I'll chance copying this to cmonkey.mozconfig. And we're not compiling the root, so if you're building with system ICU, we need to apply the patch and a security fixes patch. Okay, next remove a hunk of unused code violating the C++ standard. Sealing has started to reject it even though it is unused since 19.10 release. Fix a problem with a bundled distro Python module and compile it with these commands. Okay, so I'll wait that to build. Okay, well, I can't find out anything on the internet apart from somebody else has tried to build an earlier version on a Raspberry Pi and they get exactly the same error. So it could be that CMonkey won't compile on the Raspberry Pi using the instructions in the BLFS book. Apparently there's no binary version available for the ARM64 either. So it could be something a little bit more involved, and I'm certainly not proficient enough in what looks like C++, I think, is it? Or C, sorry, to fathom this out. So I'm going to have to, unfortunately, resign this one as a failure. So I'll tidy that up and close that down and move on to the other packages that I want to try and build.